Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
So it's this English learning podcast called Daily Money Briefing.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
It's actually pretty cool. You get the
Yeah.
financial news and kind of a language lesson all in one.
Oh, I like that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
So, if you've been keeping an eye on the Korean stock market, you'll know it's really running hot right now. A strong bull run.
Absolutely. Lots of activity.
And that means there are some pretty exciting chances to build wealth popping up all over the place. But that brings up a big question, doesn't it? How do you actually pick out the leading stocks in each sector? You know, the ones people call sector leaders.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
And you've probably seen the headlines flying around, right? Things like battery sector leaders are surging, or maybe AI leaders are driving the whole market.
Oh yeah, constantly.
It gets you thinking, well, who actually decides which stocks get labeled a leader? And more importantly for you listening, how can you spot these early on?
It's a good question
Like,
because it's not always obvious from the outside.
So that's really our mission for this deep dive. We're going to pull back the curtain a bit, break down the process step by step. And we're drawing insights straight from a strategic guide that, well, it really lays out how to pinpoint these key players.
Right. And it's true, the market can seem chaotic sometimes, but there are signals, very clear ones actually, once you know what you're looking for.
Okay.
And I think the absolute first step, the most crucial one, it often gets overlooked. Maybe because it sounds too simple.
So where do we begin then to start identifying these important leaders? What's that foundational first step?
Okay, so the absolute foundation, where you have to start, is clearly defining the sector you're looking at.
Ah, okay. Definition first.
Yes, you simply must group companies based on what their core business actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking semiconductors, EV batteries, maybe automobiles, shipbuilding, cloud, construction? There are lots of examples.
Right. Semiconductors, batteries, cars.
Exactly. Because without that clear definition first,
Yeah.
your analysis is just going to be, messy, muddled. And the reason this is so critical is that companies, they need to be bucketed by what they fundamentally do. And right now, you look at the hot sectors, AI, semis, shipbuilding, construction, and then once you have that really clear sector picture, then you can start looking for the first clues inside it. And those initial clues, often stocks with large market caps and high trading volumes.
Okay, so clarity first, then look for size and activity.
Well, once your sector is defined nice and clearly, the next step is really to look for the giants, the big players. They mean the top one or maybe two stocks by market capitalization.
Market cap. And what's the really key insight there?
What's really insightful about market cap isn't just the size itself. It's that these companies act as anchors for the whole sector. Think of them like the huge ships that kind of set the current for the rest of the fleet. Yeah. When the big money, like foreign or institutional capital, comes into a sector, they often start with these names.
Yeah.
Not just because they're easy to trade, liquid,
Right.
but because these giants tend to create a sort of halo effect. Their success can actually lift other boats in the same sector. So their movements, they're a really important leading indicator for how the whole sector might be doing, even the smaller companies.
And we see this play out very clearly in the Korean market. Like in semiconductors, you've got Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix. And for EV batteries, it's LG Energy Solution and Samsung SDI. They're the established heavyweights that really define those spaces. But markets aren't always about the long-term view, right? What about those sudden bursts of activity? There's really hot short-term themes. Because the stock leading that kind of rally isn't always the biggest overall, is it?
You're absolutely right. For those kinds of, rapid, intense rallies, the leader is often the one that's just exploding in terms of trading volume. And it's getting plastered all over the media.
Okay. Volume and buzz.
Exactly. It's almost like the market's having an instant popularity contest.
Can you give us an example?
The recent AI theme is a perfect example. Now, Naver, it's undeniably the heavyweight in that space by market cap, right? But when that theme really took off, it was companies like Saltlux that were hitting the daily price limit. So Saltlux, in that moment, acted as the short-term leader. It showed where the market's immediate, almost frantic interest was focused.
Okay, so we've looked at company size, we've looked at short-term buzz and volume. Where else can we look to see, let's say, the smart money might be heading?
That leads us right into another really crucial signal, tracking investor flows, specifically foreign and institutional money. If you see foreign investors or big institutions heavily buying a particular stock, piling in, that usually signals they see real significant long-term value there. And, importantly, the rest of the market tends to notice and respect that conviction.
So their buying can be a leading indicator.
Their movements can signal broader trends that are about to unfold within that sector or even the market as a whole.
And that's particularly relevant here in Korea.
For the Keiko's PI index, foreign flows are incredibly important. They can really move the needle for the entire index.
Right.
Whereas on KOSDQ, while foreign money still matters, and even collective retail activity having a really significant impact.
So understanding who is buying and where is key.
You're just watching where the big players are placing their bets, where their conviction lies.
Our final tip, learning from history.
This is where you put on your market historian hat for a minute.
Okay.
Ask yourself this. When a particular theme really took off in the past, maybe think back to the metaverse craze, or perhaps the hydrogen fuel cell theme. Which stock was the first one to really move? Which company led that initial charge right at the beginning of the rally?
And we definitely saw this during the metaverse boom, didn't we? I remember Max T and Giant Step ones.
And the implication here is really significant. If that same theme or a very similar one starts to bubble up again, they often lead the charge the second time around too.
Huh. It's like muscle memory for the market.
Well, if that theme starts getting hot again, history strongly suggests they're likely candidates to take center stage once more, so to speak.
That's a really practical insight. Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive into spotting sector leaders. First up, absolutely crucial. Clearly define the sector you're analyzing, no ambiguity.
Second, always check out the top players by market capitalization. Those are your big, established giants, the anchors setting the market's long-term current.
Third, for those sudden, intense, short-term themes, look for the stocks with the massive trading volume spikes and all the media attention. That's where the immediate action and market focus are.
Fourth, keep an eye on those investor flows. Track the foreign and institutional buying. Their capital movements are powerful signals of long-term belief and often come before bigger market shifts.
And finally, number 5, study the past. Look at historical leader patterns from previous theme rallies. The stocks that moved first back then, they very often become the first movers when that theme returns.
Right. And just consistently applying these 5 ideas, these 5 lenses, it really will transform how you approach the market. It helps you move beyond just, reacting to whatever's happening today.
Indeed. It's about being proactive, not just reactive. So when you see them, think about how using these 5 insights could shift your perspective, moving from just following the news to actively anticipating market shifts.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.